Welcome back to Talk Sophia, your daily English practice space.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ryan, here with my beautiful friend, Sophia.
Each episode helps you learn English naturally by listening to real-life conversations.
Today, we are talking about job etiquette. This means how to behave professionally at work. We'll talk about things like punctuality, communication, dress code, and how to interact with colleagues and managers.
This is super useful whether you're starting a new job, working with international colleagues, or just want to improve your professional English skills.
And if you enjoy learning English with us, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new lesson.
We post new videos every day, so there's always something fresh to learn.
All right, are you ready?
Let's do it.
So Ryan, how are you today?
I'm pretty good, actually. A little tired, but good. I went to bed really late last night.
Oh no, why? What were you doing?
I was organizing my home office. I finally decided to clean my desk, and then one thing led to another, and suddenly it was 2 in the morning.
That always happens. You start with one small task and then you can't stop.
Exactly. But now my desk looks amazing. I feel so much more focused.
That's great. A clean workspace really does help with productivity. What about your weekend? Did you do anything fun?
Yes, actually. I went to a friend's birthday dinner on Saturday. It was at this really fancy restaurant downtown. Very professional atmosphere. White tablecloths, formal waiters.
Ooh, fancy. Did you dress up?
I did, and honestly, I wasn't sure what to wear. I didn't want to be too casual or too formal. I spent like 30 minutes choosing my outfit.
I completely understand that feeling. It's stressful when you're not sure what the dress code is.
Yes, and it reminded me of when I started my first job. I had the same panic every single morning.
That is such a perfect connection. Speaking of what to wear and how to behave professionally, today we're going to talk all about job etiquette. So your story is a great way to get started.
Perfect timing, as always.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Ryan, when you think about job etiquette, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Honestly, being on time, punctuality, that's the first thing I think about.
That's a great starting point. Punctuality is so important in a professional environment. Being on time shows respect for other people's time.
Right. And I remember my first job. My manager told me on the very first day, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late.
Oh, that's a very common phrase in professional culture. It means you should always arrive a few minutes early to be safe.
Yes, and I didn't fully understand it at first. I thought if my shift starts at 9, then arriving at 9 is fine. But my manager explained that arriving at 9 means you're just starting to prepare, so you might not actually be ready to work until 9:15.
Exactly. Arriving 5 to 10 minutes early gives you time to settle in, review your tasks, and start working exactly on time.
I learned that lesson pretty quickly. What about you, Sophia? Are you always on time?
I try very hard to be punctual. I actually set multiple alarms and I plan my commute time carefully. If I know a meeting starts at 10, I try to arrive at 9:55.
5 minutes early. That's very organized. Very Sophia.
Well, being late makes me feel stressed, and it can give a bad impression to colleagues or managers.
That's true. What happens if you are late, like by accident?
It happens to everyone sometimes. The most important thing is to communicate as soon as possible. If you know you're going to be late, you should send a message or call ahead of time.
Right. You shouldn't just show up late without saying anything.
Exactly. You can say something like, "I'm sorry, I'm running a few minutes late. I'll be there by 10:15. Short, polite, and informative.
And then when you arrive, should you apologize again?
Yes, a brief apology is good. You don't need to explain the whole story, but saying, "I'm sorry for being late" is professional and respectful.
Got it. Okay, so punctuality is number 1. What else is important for job etiquette?
Let's talk about professional communication. This is huge. How you communicate with your colleagues and managers says a lot about your professionalism.
What do you mean by professional communication?
Well, it covers a few things. First, how you speak to people. Second, how you write emails or messages. And third, your body language and tone.
Oh, emails. I feel like email etiquette is a whole topic by itself.
It really is. Let's start with emails. When you write a professional email, there are some important rules to follow.
Like what?
First, always use a clear subject line. The subject line tells the reader what the email is about before they open it. For example, meeting request for Thursday, or question about the report.
That makes sense. I've received emails with no subject line, and it always feels a little unprofessional.
Exactly. It also makes it harder to find the email later.
True. What's the next rule?
Start with a proper greeting. In professional emails, you say, "Dear name," or "Hello name." You don't start with "Hey" in a formal email.
Oh, I've made that mistake before. I once sent an email to a new client that started with, "Hey there," and my manager was not happy.
Yes, "Hey there" is very casual. It's fine for close colleagues or friends, but not for formal communication.
What about the ending? How do you close a professional email?
You use phrases like "best regards," "kind regards," "sincerely," or "thank you." These are professional and polite ways to end an email.
And then your name below, right?
Yes, and many professionals include a signature block with their name, job title, and contact information.
That looks very professional. I should set that up for myself.
You should. It's a small detail, but it makes a good impression.
Okay, what about speaking to colleagues? What are some communication tips there?
Well, one important thing is to be friendly and approachable. A simple "good morning" when you arrive or "have a good evening" when you leave makes a big difference.
Small greetings can really change the atmosphere of an office. I always notice when someone doesn't say hello. It feels cold.
Me too. It doesn't take much effort, but it shows that you respect your colleagues as people, not just coworkers.
Right. What happens if becoming too friendly? Is that a problem?
Good point. There's a balance. You want to be warm and pleasant, but you also need to maintain professional boundaries. Work is not the same as hanging out with close friends.
Can you give an example of crossing a professional boundary?
Sure. For example, asking very personal questions like, "How much do you earn?" or "Why did you break up with your partner?" These are too personal for a work environment, especially with someone you don't know well.
Right. Those would make people uncomfortable.
Exactly. Another example, sharing too many personal problems or complaints at work. It's okay to have a brief chat, but if you spend 30 minutes every day telling your colleagues about your personal issues, it becomes unprofessional.
I see. Keep it light and positive at work?
Generally, yes. Now, what about working with a manager? How should you interact with your boss?
That's something I've had to learn over the years. I used to be too casual with my managers when I was younger.
Really? What do you mean?
Well, I was very relaxed and informal. I treated my manager like a friend. I would joke around a lot, sometimes interrupt meetings, and I didn't always follow up when I said I would do something.
Oh, how did that affect your work?
My manager eventually had a conversation with me about it. She said I was a hard worker, but I needed to be more professional in my communication and follow through.
That must have been an important lesson.
It really was. I started being more careful about what I promised. If I said I would finish a report by Friday, I made sure to finish it by Friday. And I started being more respectful in meetings.
That's a great example. Following through on your commitments is a very important part of professional etiquette. It builds trust.
Yes, your boss and colleagues need to be able to rely on you.
Exactly. And when you're communicating with your manager, be clear and concise. Don't bury the main point in a long explanation.
What do you mean by bury the main point?
It means hiding the important information inside too many details. For example, if you need to tell your manager a project is delayed, don't spend 5 minutes explaining all the background first. Start with the key information. The project is delayed by 2 days because of X. Here's my plan to fix it.
Oh, I understand. Get to the point quickly and then explain.
Exactly. Managers are usually very busy. They appreciate clear, direct communication.
That's a really useful tip. What about when you disagree with your manager? That can be tricky.
It can be, but it's possible to respectfully share a different opinion. You might say, "I understand your perspective. Could I share a different approach?" Or, "I have some concerns about this plan. Is now a good time to discuss them?"
So you acknowledge their view first and then share yours.
Right. You're not telling them they're wrong, you're opening a conversation.
That's much better than just saying, I disagree.
Much better, yes. Okay, let's talk about another area. How you behave in shared spaces at work. Things like the break room, the meeting room, and open office areas.
Oh, this is interesting. The break room is a source of so many unwritten rules.
It really is. What are some things people do that are rude in a break room?
Leaving dishes in the sink, that drives me crazy. Everyone needs to wash their own dishes, or at least put them in the dishwasher if there is one.
Yes, that's a big one. Shared spaces need to be kept clean and tidy. It's about respect for everyone who uses the space.
What about food? I've seen people eat other people's food from the fridge.
That is definitely not okay. Never eat food that isn't yours from the office fridge. Always label your food if you want to make sure no one touches it.
Right. Simple courtesy.
Another thing, don't have loud conversations in areas where other people are working. If you need to have a long phone call or a casual chat, move to an appropriate area.
Yes, open offices can be challenging. The noise can really affect concentration.
Exactly. Being mindful of the noise level around you is a big part of office etiquette.
What about meetings? Are there etiquette rules for meetings?
Absolutely. Meeting etiquette is very important. First, arrive on time. A meeting can't start properly if people are still walking in when it should have already begun.
And it wastes everyone's time.
Yes. Second, come prepared. If you have a meeting about a project, review the relevant information beforehand so you can contribute meaningfully.
Don't show up and say, wait, what are we talking about today?
Exactly. Third, silence your phone. Phones ringing or buzzing during a meeting is very distracting and disrespectful.
I once had a colleague whose phone rang during a very important meeting. It played a very loud pop song.
Oh no, that must have been embarrassing.
It was. The room went completely silent. Everyone looked at her. She turned red and couldn't find her phone quickly enough.
That's a good reminder. Always put your phone on silent before a meeting.
Lesson learned. What else for meetings?
Don't interrupt when someone is speaking. Wait for your turn to talk. And if you want to add something, raise your hand slightly or wait for a natural pause.
And stay focused. Don't work on your laptop during the meeting if it's not related.
Right. Being on your laptop while someone is presenting can seem dismissive.
Unless the meeting is a virtual meeting and you're taking notes, right?
True, in virtual meetings or online calls, taking notes on your laptop is expected, but browsing social media is not.
Good point. Okay, what about working from home? There's a new kind of etiquette for that too, isn't there?
Yes, remote work etiquette is very relevant now. Many people work from home, and there are still important professional standards to maintain.
Like what?
First, treat your remote workday like a regular office day in terms of schedule and availability. Start at your regular time, be reachable during working hours.
Don't disappear for 2 hours without telling anyone.
Exactly. If you need to step away, let your team know. A quick message like, I'll be away from my desk from 2 to 3, is professional and considerate.
What about video calls? I've seen some funny things on video calls.
Video call etiquette is important. First, find a clean, quiet background. You don't want your colleagues to see a messy room or hear your TV in the background.
I once had a video call where my colleague's cat walked across the keyboard and turned off his microphone. It was actually pretty funny.
Animals and children are unpredictable, but generally, try to minimize distractions. Close unnecessary applications, mute when you're not speaking, and look at the camera, not just your screen.
Looking at the camera, that simulates eye contact, right?
Exactly. It makes the conversation feel more personal and engaged.
Good tip. Okay, I have one more topic I want to talk about. What about taking credit for other people's work, or how to handle it when someone takes credit for your work?
Oh, that is a sensitive but very real topic. Unfortunately, it happens. First, let's talk about what not to do. You should never claim someone else's idea or work as your own. That is unethical and can seriously damage your professional reputation.
Yes, and once people find out, and they usually do, you lose their trust completely.
Exactly. Always give credit where it's due. You can say, this idea came from my colleague, Sarah, or our team developed this approach together.
That actually makes you look good too. It shows you're a team player.
Right. And what about when someone takes credit for your work?
That's harder to handle. I've been in that situation before.
What did you do?
Honestly, the first time it happened, I didn't do anything. I was too uncomfortable. But then my manager didn't know I had contributed to the project.
That's unfortunately common. There are professional ways to handle it. In the moment, if someone presents your idea in a meeting, you can gently say, "Yes, and to add to that, I originally proposed this approach because..."
So you don't accuse anyone, you just naturally re-enter the conversation and establish your contribution.
Exactly. And going forward, make your contributions visible. Send emails documenting your ideas, CC your manager on key updates, keep a record.
That's smart. Not in a suspicious way, just in a professional, organized way.
Exactly. Documentation is your friend in the workplace.
Wow, we've covered so much. I feel like I've learned a lot, and this is a topic I thought I already knew.
Job etiquette has many layers. The more you pay attention, the better you get at it. You know, Ryan, while we were talking, we used many useful words and phrases related to job etiquette. Let's go through some of them now so our viewers can understand and use them.
Great idea. I'm ready. What's our first word?
First word, punctuality. This is a noun. It means the quality of doing something at the agreed time without being late.
So, a person who is punctual always arrives on time. For example, her punctuality impressed her new manager.
Exactly. And the adjective form is punctual. We can say, he is always punctual for meetings.
The opposite is late, or you can say someone is unpunctual, though we don't use that word as often.
Right. We more often say someone is always late rather than unpunctual. Sophia, are you a punctual person?
Wait, you asked yourself.
I mean, Ryan, are you a punctual person?
I try to be, but honestly, I'm sometimes 5 minutes late. I'm working on it.
At least you're honest. I am very punctual. It makes me feel calm and in control.
What's the next word?
Next word, etiquette. This is a noun. It means the set of rules or norms about how to behave in a particular situation or environment.
Oh yes, we use this word many times today. For example, learning office etiquette helps you make a good impression.
Exactly. We can talk about different types of etiquette: dining etiquette, email etiquette, meeting etiquette. It applies to many situations.
What about table etiquette? That's a thing too.
Yes, that refers to how you behave at the dinner table. Which fork to use, how to sit, when to start eating. Very useful if you go to a formal business dinner.
I did not know the correct fork order for a long time. I used to just watch what other people did.
Honestly, that's a smart strategy too. Next word, professional. This is both an adjective and a noun.
As an adjective, it means something suitable for or relating to the workplace. For example, please use professional language in your emails.
And as a noun, a professional is someone who works in a skilled occupation and behaves with high standards. She is a true professional.
Right. We also use the phrase to act professionally, which means to behave in a way that is appropriate for the workplace.
The opposite is unprofessional. For example, arriving late without warning is unprofessional.
I've been called unprofessional a couple of times in my career. It stings.
It does. It's a good motivation to improve. Next word, concise. This is an adjective. It means short, clear, and getting directly to the point, not using unnecessary words.
Oh, we talked about this when discussing communication with managers. For example, please keep your report concise, limited to 2 pages.
Exactly. The opposite is verbose or long-winded, which means using too many words.
I can be verbose sometimes. My emails used to be very long. My manager told me to shorten them.
It's a common habit. We sometimes write a lot because we want to explain everything. But in professional settings, being concise saves everyone time.
Another example, her presentation was concise and easy to follow. Everyone appreciated it.
Perfect. Next word, approachable. This is an adjective. It means easy to talk to, friendly, and open. Someone who seems approachable makes others feel comfortable starting a conversation.
For example, my manager is very approachable. I can always go to her with questions.
Yes, being approachable at work is a positive quality. It means your colleagues feel safe asking for help or sharing ideas.
The opposite would be unapproachable or intimidating. Someone who seems unapproachable might look too serious or unfriendly.
Right. Simple things make you more approachable. Smiling, making eye contact, and having an open body language.
What's open body language?
It means not crossing your arms, turning toward the person you're speaking with, and nodding to show you're listening.
I see. Small physical signals send big messages.
Exactly. Next word, follow through. This is a noun. It means completing something you committed to doing what you said you would do.
We talked about this when I shared my personal story. For example, his follow through is excellent. He always delivers on time.
Right. And the verb phrase is to follow through. For example, I promised to deliver the report by Friday. I need to follow through on that.
The opposite is to drop the ball, which is an expression that means to fail to complete something you were responsible for.
Oh, I love that expression. He dropped the ball on the project deadline. It sounds so vivid.
Yes, and in a professional context, poor follow through can seriously damage your reputation. People stop trusting you if you don't do what you say.
Very true. Next word, dismissive. This is an adjective. It means treating someone or something as unimportant or not worth attention.
Oh, we use this one when talking about meetings. For example, looking at your phone while someone is presenting seems dismissive.
Exactly. If you are dismissive of a colleague's idea, you're showing that you don't value it.
For example, his dismissive attitude made the team feel unappreciated.
Right. Nobody wants to feel dismissed. It's important to show people that their contributions matter.
Right. The opposite would be engaged or attentive. She was attentive during the entire meeting.
Good connection. Next word, boundary. This is a noun. It means the limits of appropriate behavior in a work relationship.
We talked about maintaining professional boundaries with colleagues. For example, it's important to set clear boundaries between your work life and personal life.
Yes, and in relationships with colleagues, she maintained professional boundaries even with close work friends.
So a boundary is like a line that you respect. You don't cross it.
Exactly. And you can set your own boundaries too. For example, telling colleagues, I don't discuss my personal finances at work, is setting a healthy boundary.
That makes sense. Everyone deserves to have their boundaries respected.
Absolutely. Next word, documentation. This is a noun. It means keeping written records of things, decisions, agreements, ideas, progress.
We talked about this when discussing how to protect your work contributions. For example, keep documentation of all your ideas by sending emails to yourself and your manager.
Right. Documentation is important in many areas of work. For example, make sure you have documentation for this agreement in case there's a disagreement later.
It's also useful during performance reviews. If you've documented your achievements, you have proof of your contributions.
Excellent point. The verb is to document. Please document all the changes you make to the project.
Last word?
Last word, commitment. This is a noun. It means a promise or obligation to do something. It also refers to dedication and loyalty.
For example, her commitment to the project impressed the whole team.
Right. We also use it to talk about keeping promises. He showed commitment by staying late to finish the report.
The verb is to commit. I committed to delivering the proposal by Monday.
And when we talk about personal values at work, commitment is highly regarded. Employers want to hire people who are committed to their role.
Absolutely. The opposite would be uncommitted or someone who is unreliable.
Good. Let's quickly review all the vocabulary words from today's lesson. We learned punctuality, always being on time, etiquette, the rules of polite behavior, professional, suitable and appropriate for work, concise, short and clear, approachable, easy to talk to and friendly, follow through, completing what you promised, dismissive, treating someone or something as unimportant, boundary, the limits of appropriate behavior, documentation, written records of work and agreements, and commitment, dedication and keeping your promises.
Excellent list. These words will definitely be useful at work or in any professional setting.
Okay, Ryan, that was a lot of talking about job etiquette.
It really was. My brain is full.
But it was very good conversation. We covered so many important topics. Let's take a moment to review everything so our viewers can remember the key points.
Good idea. Let's do a quick summary.
First, we talked about punctuality. Arriving on time or a few minutes early is one of the most important parts of professional etiquette. It shows respect for other people's schedules. We use phrases like, I'll be there by, I'm running a few minutes late, and I'll arrive a few minutes early.
Then, we talked about professional communication. This includes both written and spoken communication. For emails, we learned to use a clear subject line, start with a proper greeting like dear or hello, and close with phrases like best regards or kind regards. In spoken communication, we learned to be respectful, listen actively, and avoid interrupting.
After that, we discussed dress code. Different workplaces have different expectations. The levels are business formal, business casual, and casual. The key advice was, when in doubt, dress slightly more formally than you think is necessary. And it's always okay to ask HR about the dress code policy.
Then, we covered workplace relationships. We learned how to be friendly but professional. Use greetings like good morning and have a good evening. Avoid topics that are too personal. And when working with your manager, be clear, concise, and always follow through on your commitments.
We also talked about shared spaces and meeting etiquette. Keep shared spaces like the break room clean. In meetings, arrive on time, come prepared, silence your phone, and don't interrupt. In virtual meetings, find a clean background, mute when you're not speaking, and look at the camera.
And finally, we discussed giving and receiving credit. Always give credit to your colleagues when they contributed to an idea or project. And if someone takes credit for your work, gently re-enter the conversation and document your contributions going forward.
So, as you can see, job etiquette covers many different areas, but the core idea is the same throughout. Be respectful, be responsible, and be professional. If you follow these basic principles, you will make a strong impression wherever you work.
It's really not that complicated when you break it down.
Exactly.
Now, we want to hear from you. This is our favorite part.
Yes, we absolutely love reading your responses. It helps us understand your experiences and what you're learning.
Our question of the day is, what is one rule of job etiquette that you think is the most important and why?
Great question. I'll go first. For me, the most important rule is follow through. I believe that when you say you will do something, you must do it. This builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every professional relationship. Without trust, it's very hard to work well with others.
I always write down my commitments so I don't forget them, and I try to deliver before the deadline when I can.
For me, I think the most important rule is communication, specifically communicating proactively. If something goes wrong or if you're going to be late with a task, tell people before they have to ask. Don't wait, don't hide, just be honest and upfront.
I've seen a lot of workplace problems come from people not communicating clearly or on time. When you communicate early and honestly, problems are much easier to solve.
See, we have different answers, and that's perfectly okay. Both follow-through and proactive communication are great answers. There's no single right response.
That's the great thing about a question like this. Everyone will have a different perspective based on their own experiences.
So, viewers, we want to know, what job etiquette rule do you think is most important?
Please tell us in the comments section below. You can write something like, I think the most important rule is rule because reason.
Or you can write, in my country or workplace, we believe that rule is very important.
Or even, I once had a problem at work because of situation. I learned that etiquette lesson.
Any format is great. We genuinely love reading your stories and experiences, and answering this question in English is excellent writing practice for you.
It helps us make better and more relevant videos for you, and it helps you practice expressing your opinions in English. 2 benefits.
So please leave your comment below. We're excited to read them.
Well, we are almost at the end of today's lesson. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
We really hope you found today's conversation about job etiquette useful and practical. These are skills you can start using right away.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It helps our channel grow and tells YouTube to recommend us to more English learners around the world.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button right now and turn on the little notification bell. That way you won't forget to join us for our next lesson.
We have new videos every day covering all kinds of practical English topics, so there's always something valuable waiting for you.
You all are great students. The fact that you're watching this video and learning English shows real dedication and effort. We are proud of you.
Keep practicing your English every day. Even 15 minutes of listening, speaking, or reading makes a huge difference over time.
And remember, professional communication is a skill just like any other. The more you practice, the more natural and confident you will become.
Believe in yourself. You've got this.
All right, everyone, that's all for today. Have a wonderful day, evening, and night wherever you are in the world.
Take care of yourselves, be professional, and we'll see you in the next video.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.